My family and friends break out into hives whenever I publish a book. And they wonder if they're in it, how they fare in it. But in the mystery there's writing. There's a strange alchemy that takes place that I've never been able to explain or understand, is that these characters take off on their own. And they sometimes lead the writer in places I did not know we were going. It took me so long to write South of Broad, I think, because first of all, I have a tendency to write slowly. My father would not let me take typing, so I still write by hand. For some reason, the writing by hand is what is natural to me now, but it slows down the process considerably. What for me is a good day is 5 handwritten pages on a yellow sheet. My father not letting me take typing is the most expensive decision an American writer has ever had to suffer through. Is I have to get somebody to type it, and I'll pay them $1 million. Then I will send it up to Nan Talese in my publisher, and Nan will cut 500 pages, the first week. And I realized I wrote those 500 pages and I didn't need to. I went to Charleston for the last time and wrote about things I knew in my blood and bones by that time. And South of Broad is a phrase you'll hear if you ever get near Charleston. And it is the aristocratic part of the city, one of the most beautiful neighborhoods in the history of the world, or in the history of architecture. It was a pleasure to spend 5 years writing about that city I love. This is a town of extraordinary mystery. This is a town of hidden beauty. And I always loved it that Charleston sort of keeps the visitor away, and their houses are built with their secret gardens in the back. And sometimes you can only smell the gardens. And I thought, okay, this is the place I'm going to set the next book. So I'm going to write about Charleston the way I think it should be written about. What is the plot? Leo King is a troubled boy, has a troubled childhood. His brother committed suicide, and he found the body. Although I write in this book about my first really good and really life-affirming father. Leo King, on one memorable day, meets 6 or 7 people who will change his life forever. And he will befriend those people his last year in high school, and they will remain his friends forever. One of them is Gay, who immediately upon high school graduation goes out to San Francisco, and is part of the whole gay revolution that took place in that magnificent city. He disappears, and his twin sister comes back to Charleston to ask those friends who had never lost touch with each other if they would go to San Francisco to help find her brother. And the entire book is why they do, why their love for each other has maintained itself in such a strong fashion, and how they find this brother and how they bring him back. The friends that mean the most to me now are the ones I have known the longest. The ones that I can call when everything goes completely wrong. It's not that large a group. In fact, it's probably about the same size as the people in this novel. What I have done is, over the years, I've gone back to Charleston, rented a place, and wrote there. And so I've kept these Charleston things. They're friends, including some South of Broad, that have been important to me, for many years. And I just met them, I think, in 1978, 79, when I was writing The Lords of Discipline. What I did not realize is how I would treasure that as I got older, that would become defining to me, and I think defining to them, that we have clung together. It was my father who called the city the mansion on the river. He was talking about Charleston, South Carolina. He was a native son, peacock proud of a town so pretty it makes your eyes ache with pleasure just to walk down its spellbinding, narrow streets. Charleston was my father's ministry, his hobby horse, his quiet obsession, and the great love of his life. His bloodstream lit up my own with a passion for the city I've never lost nor ever will. I'm Charleston born, and bread. The city's two rivers, the Ashley and the Cooper, have flooded and shaped all the days of my life on the storied peninsula. I carry the delicate porcelain beauty of Charleston, like the hinged shell of some soft-tissued mollusk. My soul is peninsula-shaped and sun-hardened and river-swollen. The high tides of the city flood my consciousness each day, subject to the whims and harmonies of full moons rising out of the Atlantic. I grow calm when I see the ranks of palmetto trees pulling guard duty on the banks of Colonial Lake, or hear the bells of St. Michael's calling cadence in the cicada-filled trees along Meeting Street. Deep in my bones, I knew early that I was one of those incorrigible creatures known as Charlestonians. Because of its devotional, graceful attraction to food and gardens and architecture, Charleston stands for all the principles that make living well both a civic virtue and a standard. It is a rapturous, defining place to grow up. Everything I reveal to you now will be Charleston shaped and Charleston governed, and sometimes even Charleston ruined. But it is my fault, and not the city's, that it came close to destroying me. Not everyone responds to beauty in the same way. Though Charleston can do much, it can't always improve on the strangeness of human behavior. But Charleston has a high tolerance for eccentricity and bemusement. There is a tastefulness in its gentility that comes from the knowledge that Charleston is a permanent dimple in the understated skyline, while the rest of us are only visitors. My, that boy can go on and on.